Hey grade 7s, welcome to your Wednesday math. I hope you guys have been enjoying the roller coaster of weather. I can't believe that, 2 weeks ago we were having snow on the ground and now we have a heat warning. I don't know what's happening anymore, but whatever's happening, I hope you guys get to enjoy a little bit of the nice weather and the sunshine that we've been having. Today we are continuing on with integers. So last time we talked about representing integers. So like if I give you integer -2, how can you represent it? One is numerically. So usually if you have a negative integer, you want to put it in brackets just because it helps separate it a little bit better. And that will become more important as we get into our second part of the lesson today, and you'll see why. So numerically, another one is with counters. So red represents negative and blue is positive. So if it's -2, I would use 2 red counters, and this represents -2. Or on a number line, 0 is in the middle, 1, 2, -1, -2. So remember when we labeled our coordinate grid and we had our x-axis, we start at 0 in the middle and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in going to the left. Similar, it's the same thing. And then you just locate -2 on the number line. Either you can say between -1 and -3, or you have a number line and you just circle it. So we did that, and then we also talked about greater or less than. So if you have two positive integers like +3 and +5, that's pretty easy to figure out because what's bigger, 3 or 5? 5, right off the bat. If it's between -1 and +6, positive, between a negative and a positive will always be worth more, has a higher value. Because think about it this way, would you rather owe someone $1 or would you rather be given $6? You'd rather be given $6. And then between two negatives. So let's say I have -7 and -8. Which one has the higher value? The best way to think about if you have two negative integers is think about it as owing someone money, or think about it in terms of temperature, whichever one you prefer. Would you rather owe someone $7 or would you rather owe them $8? $7 because you don't have to pay as much. Or think about it in terms of temperature. Would you rather go outside when it's -7 degrees, or would you rather go outside when it's -8? -7 because it's just a little bit warmer. So -7 has the higher value. So that was our Monday. Today we are actually talking about adding integers. It is less scary than you think. We are going to do this. Adding integers is probably going to take us about 2 or 3 lessons. Reason being is because today we're going to be adding integers using a number line. I like using the number line method when you first start adding integers because it's very simple. All you're really doing is just counting dashes, and you just have to know which direction to go on the number line. That's it. Later on, we're going to get into more theoretical, as in instead of using a number line as a tool, you'll just be able to tell like, oh, you can just look at these two integers and know where it's going to end up, or know if it's going to be a greater or less than value when you add them two together. I'll explain that later. First of all, let's get into a couple example questions. Our first question, number 1, is +2 plus +3. The way to add them together is take your first integer, so +2. So +2, locate it on your number line. So +2, remember, positive numbers will not always have a positive sign in front of them. I'm just using it for an example. Usually if it's a positive number, it'll just be the number by itself. However, if it's a negative number, it'll always have a negative sign in front of it. Okay? So 2 and +2 are the exact same thing. So first and foremost, find your first integer. So we find +2 on our number line, right here. Today we're only doing adding. I'm adding +3. What that means is, if I didn't have those positive signs here, It's basically 2 plus 3. You guys should all know this. 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3. So I go 2, I go 1, 2, 3 spots to the right. And then I end up at positive 5. So positive 2 plus positive 3 equals positive 5. All right, I'm going to use green for our next one. We have negative 3 plus positive 2. What this means is I find negative 3, so I locate my first integer on our number line. Negative 3 is right here. I am adding. What it means when I add, it means I'm going to the right. I'm adding a positive number. So here's the way I like to describe adding integers. If it's a positive beside a positive number, like this, plus a positive 2, if these two symbols match, or if it is a positive and then there's nothing there, like 2, that means what this means is if I have a positive number and then just a regular number by itself, if it's a regular number like 5, it has an invisible plus sign in front of it. You just don't always see it, but it's there. So what this means is you have two plus signs beside each other like this. It means you always go to the right on the number line. So remember positive 2 plus positive 3? There's two positive signs. We went to the right to add them together. So if they are the same symbols, matching symbols, means you go to the right on a number line. So in this case, negative 3 plus positive 2, I start at negative 3 and I'm going 2 spaces to the right. So I go 1, 2, and I end up at negative 1. What it means is, think about it this way. In the morning, it was minus 3 degrees, and it warmed up slightly over the day, and it went to negative 1. What it means is it went 2 degrees warmer. So it means that now, if I add these two integers together, I have a higher value because negative 1 is a higher value than negative 3. So matching symbols, we go to the right. So we ended up at negative 1. And remember, if you have a negative, try to remember to put it in brackets. Because as you can see, it can get confusing if you don't have it. Because if I just did plus and minus 7, that looks confusing. But this makes it a little bit more clear. All right. So that's question 2. Question 3. I'm just going to choose a different color for this. We have positive 4 plus negative 7. So first step, we always locate our first number on the number line. So positive 4. We're adding a negative number. You see how these symbols here are opposites? A plus and then a negative. Opposite symbols let's do it this way. Opposite symbols, you go to the left. So matching right, opposite, left. So what that means is I start at negative 4, and instead of going this direction, I'm going to the left. And I go to the left 7 spaces because that is my second number. So what you do is you find your first number, locate it on the number line, and then you go, if it's opposite symbols, you go that many spaces to the left. If they're matching symbols, you go that many spaces to the right for your second number. So I have positive 4, and I'm adding negative 7, which means I'm going 7 spaces to the left because they're opposite symbols, and my second number is 7. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And where do I end up? I end up at negative 3. So you see how I started at 4 and I dropped down to negative 3, it has a lower value? That's because when you're adding a negative and those two symbols are opposite, it's more like a subtraction question than it is addition. All right, so that's what I want you to get in the mindset of. If it's opposite symbols, your number is going to lose value. Whereas if it's same symbols, it will increase in value. Think about it this way, is it started at 4 degrees and it dropped 7 degrees overnight. It means it went down, as in the temperature is colder. It went down to negative 3 degrees. All right, now our next one. Negative 4 plus negative 6. First of all, your first symbol, or your first number, negative 4, you locate it on your number line. There we go. Next part is, look at the symbols. Do they match? Then you're going to the right. If they do not match, you go to the left. So I have two symbols here that do not match. That means I'm going to be going to the left. And I'm going to the left 6 spaces because that is my second number. So I'm going to have to extend this number line a little bit. So we have negative 4 plus negative 6. So I start at negative 4. I'm going to the left because I have a positive plus a negative. Opposite symbols means I go to the left. All right, so I start at negative 4 and then I go 6 spaces to the left because they are opposite. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where do I end up? I end up at negative 10. So my answer for this question is negative 10. What I'm going to do is quickly draw another number line, and I'm going to do a couple more practice questions for you guys, just so we can practice the rules for adding integers a bit more. So I got to quickly draw this number line. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so there is my number line drawn out. Sorry if you guys start to notice jump cuts in the videos. The screen recorder I now use just updated itself and now it has a pause function. So I can just pause the video in the middle of filming instead of having these like weird pauses that like I normally do. It's fantastic. I'm just still getting used to it. All right, so here's my number line. We're gonna do a couple questions. So let's do positive 4 plus positive 3. First step is look at your first number, positive 4. Locate positive 4 on your number line. It's right here. I have matching symbols. What does it mean when the symbols match? I'm going to the right. So I'm going to the right this many spaces, 3 spaces. So I start at 4 and I go to the right 3 spaces because that's my second number. So I go 1, 2, 3. Where do I end up? Positive 7. All right, that's our first question. Second question is, let's just do this in a different color. We're going to do negative 2. Remember to always put your negatives in brackets, especially when you answer. I just want you to get into that habit because if I did this, this looks really confusing. And that looks a little bit clearer. All right, negative 2 plus negative 5. First of all, find your first number on the number line. So -2 is right here. Next step, look at your symbols. Do they match or are they opposite? They are opposite. So plus and negative, those are opposite symbols. It means I'm going to the left on the number line. Matching, right, opposite, left. How many spaces am I going left? Look at my second number, 5. I'm going 5 spaces to the left. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where do I end up? I'm at -7. All right. Another question. -3 plus +6. So again, just reminding you, sometimes your questions will not have a your second number will not have a plus sign. Sometimes it will just look like this. It'll just look like -3 plus 6. Remember, if it does not have a symbol in front of that number, it is positive. It's automatically a positive number. Negatives will always have a negative symbol in front of them. Positive, not always. So in this case, I know that this 6 is positive because there's no symbol in front of it. What I can do to remind myself is just put a little plus sign in there, just to make this next part easier. So first step, locate -3 on the number line. Here it is. I am adding a positive number. These two symbols match. It means I'm going to the right. And I'm going to the right this many spaces. I'm going to the right 6 spaces because that's my second number. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where do I end up? I end up at +3. And one last question to round us off is, we did a negative plus a negative, negative. So let's do +3 plus -8. Now, first step, find your first number. Here's +3. Next step, look at my symbols. These two symbols are opposite. So I know if they're opposite, I'm automatically going to the left on the number line. I'm going to the left this many spaces because my second number is 8. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I end up at -5. There you are. So that's what you're going to be doing today. You're going to have a bunch of questions that are going to be very simple addition of integers. I believe the sheet should have a number line on it. If not, I will attach a number line to the sheet itself. I'll just put an image of one in there so that you can use to your heart's content, and I'll also use it on the Google form. If it doesn't already have a number line attached to it, I will add images of a number line to the Google form itself so that you can use to reference counting that many spaces to the left or right, depending on the question. So again, I hope you guys are having a fantastic week. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. And otherwise, I will see you guys on Friday.